I understand now why they say never meet your heroes, Intercessor Delgado. You've truly been an enormous disappointment. A key experiment fails and Anchoress Brunn falls prey to an unfortunate accident right after you and your consort arrive. And we are all to believe these events are unrelated?
That's circumstantial and more than a mite bit paranoid. I expect better from an order scientician. Even one from the Department of Applied Scientism.
Don't think I don't see your handprints all over this, Delgado. Don't try to lay the responsibility for this on me. I'm not buying it. The Anchoress, poor trusting soul that she was, may have believed you were here in good faith. But I don't. You're looking more and more like enemies to me. Fascinating. You know, I reviewed that work myself, right? I'm well versed in manipulative prevarication from feckless mutineers. Try again. Or try facing a gauntlet of well-trained exemplars. I could always choose for you. Really? You don't say. I know you're to blame. I just wanted to see how far you were gonna take this. I can't believe Anchoress Brunn fell for any of it. Fellow exemplars of the Order, commence hostilities!
Stun weapon ready, Commander.
Firing target.
High five. Yes. None shall stand against us. Our commander hangs from a thread. Investigating disturbance. Exposure levels up.
Commander, throwing energy your way. Try to limit further damage.
Oh, look who it is. The legendary former head intercessor of the Order. Another mission successfully completed. Made it through all that without a scratch, hmm? Glad to see. Say, I know this was difficult and rather a mess, but you listened. You tried to do right before you did what you must. I appreciate it, the attempt. No matter how that may sound.
The credit or blame belongs to the commander here. It was their decision, ultimately.
You forget I know you. You always thought you knew better. No one could ever convince you of anything. Before, that is. Good to see. Maybe you are facing yourself.
There are a few things I'm still not used to saying. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please. And thank you. But thank you, Anais.
At any rate, I'm off. You all take care now. Marisol, don't be too enigmatic or anything. Try. Before I forget. Meant to give you this earlier.
Oh, thank you, Anais. Goodbye. Oh, Brunn obviously murdered her. Thought you knew that. Perhaps it was an accident. Perhaps she simply wanted to knock Chow unconscious so she could sneak away. Or not. Indefinite immurement isn't for everyone. Even the finest minds may crack under the strain. But her canned, feigned concern about Chow, how she kept changing the subject, both belied an underlying sense of guilt to me. Oh, not really. Not yet, at any rate. everything's a bit raw right now. But suppose I will be. Thank you, dear.
I hope that Bouchol does not soften your instinct. We've many battles yet to fight.
Commander, it's customary to... I've had some time to cogitate over what occurred at Point Obviation. Some parts don't sit right with me still. Wonder if you and I might talk it through. A bit, yes. With the work I used to do, I'm no stranger to guilt and regret. Midway into my requisite sleep cycle is when it usually plagues me the most. We could have done better by Ancar's Brun. If we'd properly convinced her to abandon the research, I'd doubtlessly still lament duping her, but she'd be alive. And yet, such actions were par for the course for me in the past. When my remorse for Brun rears its head, it will need to get in line. Well, I wouldn't bet against you there. Yes, Southworth was complicit. And now she's dead. I hope so, at least. According to Anais, we could have reduced the likelihood of that occurring by completing the brain-off. It's not anywhere near zero, but it's unlikely. She seemed pleased that we at least attempted to address her concerns, so I've changed, apparently. Thanks to you. It's been a while since anyone gave me a good talking to like Anais did. And I'll admit your influence has been rather positive. I'm pleased with the path I'm on now. I didn't think this is what the plan had in store for me. I've been facing myself with the same zeal I face my enemies. With tidier results. Appreciate you taking the time to talk it over, Commander.
Your pet mechanical has been something of a nuisance lately. She bludgeoned me on multiple occasions, and earlier she came at me with a live electrical prod. I suspect I should be annoyed, yet I find myself nostalgic. It reminds me of my Academy pain tolerance seminars, minus the broken fingers.
Don't mind me, just hydrating my scales. Law, ain't that a sentence? Got something that needs doing, Commander? How personal are we talking? Couldn't say. I was in it all of 2 days before my graft started festering. Before that, I was an infantry medic. Our platoon was one of the first to touch down in Arcadia. I would have continued serving on the front line in an upgraded capacity, but well, Once the state of my graft became apparent, it was decided that parting ways would be best. My commanding officer, and the surgeon who performed the operation, I imagine. I wasn't lucid at the time. When I regained consciousness, I saw that my service pistol was gone, and a termination notice was in its place. I put two and two together. Law, that was a bad morning. Look, I knew dismissal was a possibility when I volunteered for the procedure. A successful graft is a boon, a failed one is a colossal liability. I'm a walking lesson in breakage. That's a nice sentiment. Did you pull it directly from a children's serial? Sorry. It's just increasingly clear you've not had many dealings with the corporation or its leaders. This is the way of things in Auntie's Choice. If you can't prove your worth, you're left behind. And that's why I'm here, trying to play catch-up. I miss my platoon, most of the time. I hope they're holding on okay wherever they are. Huh. If nothing else, they'll have Ortiz to keep up morale. I know the nonstop jokes from that bastard sustained me for weeks. Yeah, he's tough. He'll be all right. Easy for you to say. These were my friends. Patched them up more times than you can count. I'd never wish harm on them. Anyhow, I would rather return to the matter at hand. No use dwelling on those out of sight and out of mind. Right. Like ain't the word I'd use, even before I was itching to tear up my contract and set it aflame. Auntie gave me autonomy, gave me the choice to do more than just struggle to survive. They treated me better than my last employers did, and despite recent events, I believe in their mission. We can give folk here in Arcadia a better life. They have. And could be they can't even fathom another way of living. Freedom can be frightening at first. But they'll see. Same as me and mine did when Auntie came to Tau Ceti. I'm just one of many who welcomed the chance to enlist with open arms. Yes, and that's a decision I made for myself. Back in Tau Ceti under Spacer's Choice, I couldn't even choose what I had for breakfast, if I'd been allowed any. That takeover was the best thing that ever happened to us, even if it took time to see it. But I reckon that's a tale for another day. That all you wanted to discuss, or... Fine by me? Well, like I said, we were both in the same unit. Me as a combat medic, him as a machine gunner. Everyone in my unit was from Tau Ceti, so we already had that in common. And we served on the front lines, which made us look out for one another that much more. See, most of us were laborers, and we just got our first real shot at something greater. We wanted to make a name for ourselves, and what better way to do that than become a hero? Our onboarders promised that if we demonstrated exceptionalism, showed initiative, that we'd get promoted quick, and our days of living in squalor would be far behind us. It ain't like they forced us to join up. We did that on our own, and it said in our contract that they could send us wherever we were needed. Can't complain if where we're needed is in a trench staring down the barrels of a minigun. I reckon that's a difference in perspective. We spent a week crouched in the same foxhole under aerial bombardment. Shared water one sip at a time by the end of it. Anyone would have been friends after that. I don't know if I would have made it out alive without him. Maybe I'll tell him that over a beer one day. Praise him in front of the whole saloon. Law knows he's got a thing for heroics. Better than I'd feared. Only had to bury 2 troopers and amputate 5 limbs. I'm thankful every day that the Protectorate can't aim for shit. He kept me clear-headed. Every so often there'd be a lull in the bombardments and I'd hear voices all across the field, calling out for aid, for mama, for death. Almost got my head clean taken off when I tried to scramble out of the foxhole the first night. I heard a call for help and moved on instinct. Damn foolish of me, really. Ortiz, told me not to panic, to wait till he could provide cover, to just shout first aid instructions where I could. It was too valuable to fall in battle, he said. It was a rough few nights at first, knowing I couldn't help folk who needed it. And the reward for that torment was my life. I appreciate that, Commander. In any case, I'm only standing here because of a damn fine soldier who became my friend. I'll carry that knowledge always. Fine by me? Yeah, figured you might. I want to say up front that I got nothing against you or your crew. Ain't one to judge the firearm by its plating. And so far, you ain't given me reason to doubt your character. But the Earth Directorate itself, it's got much to answer for. That only holds true until the day one of you decides to leave the other. And no disrespect, but I'd say they left you 10 years ago. The Earth Directorate swore a promise to every colony out there. That if you plead for help, help will come. Maybe not immediately, but you know, maybe sometime this decade. But that's all a heap of shit. You know how many of us in Tau Ceti tried to send messages? And when that didn't work, how we begged the stars for the Earth Directorate to save us? They never responded. Never showed up. Not when I was a child, certainly not by the time Auntie's Choice came around. You ask me, you're selling folk a lie. I know that. I see you doing all you can to help folk. Look, I ain't holding you to account for the Earth Directorate's ills. No more than anyone would hold me to those of Auntie's Choice. We're our own people. No matter how often I'm hit in the face with that fact, with you, with Ethel, it's rather easy to forget at times. But talking through this reminds me. And I appreciate it, Commander. Nor do I. Fine by me? Oh, come on. It's just a hobby. An obvious one at that. I picked up drawing from the grandpa in the domicile next door back in Tau Ceti. When I was a kid, he told me the best way to appreciate nature was to create some of your own and carry it with you. The notion's taken on a bit of a different meaning now with Auntie, but I reckon that Grandpa has the right of it. Vincent. He used to draw posters and ads for Spacer's Choice. He had style. Of course, that didn't last. Age caught up and his hands started failing him. Couldn't draw, couldn't lift heavy objects, could hardly walk without exerting himself. And in Tau Ceti, if you couldn't work, you didn't get ration cards. We shared what we could with him, of course, but what we got already wasn't much. We didn't know that at the time. It's just how life was. Last day I saw him, he refused the half-salt tuna can I tried to give him. Said it was him lending me his strength. He was gone the next day. We searched all over, then realized he must have wandered off into the wilderness, not wanting to be a burden. We never found him. Can't hardly open a tin without thinking about him now. So if you're wondering why I still hold a candle for Auntie's Choice, after everything, it's because I know had Auntie arrived just 4 months earlier, Vincent might still be alive. It's been years now since I talked about it. He was a good man. He deserved better. So did the rest of us. Anyhow, ain't meaning to talk your ear off. Fine by me? Not great. It was a mining colony under Spacer's Choice. Didn't have much, but my parents worked hard to ensure we had shelter and a warm meal every day. They're good folk. I love them. But I don't think they ever quite grasped how bad things were before Auntie's Choice came. They warned me not to join up, you know. Said we'd all get burned if we put too much stock in the promises of this foreign corporation. But I'd rather take a risk on them than be resigned to how things were. Me neither. Spacer's Choice could kill hope in just about anyone. Though, my folks are living comfortably now. Whether they trust Auntie or not, that's what matters. No, not at all. But I ain't sure my folks oppose them now. They have good jobs and a roof that doesn't leak. The ones who didn't adjust, however, was our management. Some of them tried to cut a deal. company secrets in exchange for an entry-level administrative role, and made it out okay. But most violently opposed the takeover, and that ain't hypothetical. Reckon a bullet in the gray matter was more palatable than being forced to the bottom rung. Says it all, really. Our colony was isolated, which meant our Spacer's Choice overlords could do as they saw fit. Everyone lived in squalor, save for a select few. We were little more than workhorses. Those of us at the bottom only found joy with our families, our friends. But love alone can't get you through the toughest, darkest winters. I miss the sunsets, and my folks, though I know they're well taken care of nowadays. But that's about it. Most of my friends joined up when I did, so we took our community with us. Leaving my hometown itself, it was an eager farewell. Fine by me.
It's strange how I ended up here. With the cult nothing but an empty, discarded idea. If I hadn't started traveling with you, I may have spent my days hunting down the members I thought traitors and never realized it was Dagmar until too late. You may not have noticed, but I have a tendency to be a little impulsive. Reckless, even. Not too reckless to heed your counsel, at least when it comes to the remnants of the Dawn. What do you need, Commander? Such as? Commander? Who exactly? Niall's naivete used to wear on me. I mean, how could he still believe in the nonsense he did with everything that happened to him? I find her amusing. In a best not to torment her or she'll kill us all kind of way, which I completely respect. Of course I do. What's not to like? To envy? Her style, her lethality? Oh, she's a professional for architect's sake. I wish I'd known about her department when I was growing up. Even as a child, I know they'd have seen my potential. I used to think he was just a standard arbiter, albeit one with too much power for his own good. Or anyone else's. But the fact that you were able to make him question the very foundation underpinning his personal reality is frankly astonishing. Hope it doesn't diminish his zeal in smashing fools with that ridiculously large hammer of his. Not only does she possess more heart than your standard corporatist flunky, she's a great deal smarter as well. Don't tell her I said so. Such as?
Running with you reminds me of my old days with Zeb. The good times, anyway.
Awaiting orders. How may this unit assist you, Commander? Presenting the Valerie unit. The latest and greatest in a line of Earth Directorate support automechanicals. All you could want in a squad mate at half the cost. The Valerie unit is the exclusive property of the Earth Directorate and is not intended for civilian or commercial use. Resale of this unit is strictly prohibited. Searching mission parameters. 1 moment. Searching. Error. Unable to find current mission parameters. Defaulting to last known objectives. Goal. Infiltrate Horizon Point Station and retrieve data pertaining to skip drives and rifts. Arcadia Colony contact. De Vries, Augustine. Expected operation time. Less than 24 hours. Laughter is the best medicine, second only to anthracillin. Do you have any other queries, Commander? Attempting to ride this unit in order to replicate the experience of flight is strongly discouraged. Do you have any other queries, Commander? This unit was first deployed on a mission to Redacted more than 10 years ago and was primarily credited for that operation's success. Other highlights include the triumph at Redacted, the rescue of Redacted, and the first successful execution of the Stanfield maneuver in zero gravity. This unit commends the agent on an excellent knowledge base. Attempts at the Stanfield maneuver, as proposed by theorist Marion Stanfield, has resulted in multiple deaths, mutilations, and maimings, leading to a ban shortly after discovery. Do you have any other queries, Commander? Vitality augmentation, logistics evaluation, reconnaissance, and information extraction unit. Do you have any other queries, Commander?
Ship protection for sale.
The higher-ups
Don't
finally
want to come back
decided to
to a
just
hole in
bury
your
the corpse of
fuselage,
that
do you?
vigilant and move on.
Sounds like it was for the best. What the hell were we doing with a vigilant corpse anyway?
We weren't. Wasn't on the manifold. Best I can tell, he climbed into one of our cargo containers to flee Golden Ridge and couldn't get out. Poor bastard.
Thanks for visiting Free Market Station. Pleasure is all ours.
Greetings. How has the data collection fared?
I just don't get why we have to buy our own weapons from our own merchants. Yes, people who can
Any friend of the broker is a friend of mine. Libations or information? What's your poison? Always. For example, there's some kind of hoity-toity collector type parked upstairs. Supposedly, she's willing to sell some of her collection if you impress her. Laws.
Oh, come now, Prospero, you've been on that stage hundreds of times. This perturbation looks bad on you, and you're not one for looking bad. Terribly sorry you've got me ruminating. A man of my persuasion shouldn't stoop to such self-deprecation, especially in front of prospective customers. You've identified me properly. But information transference is the lifeblood of Free Market Station. And if you want a transfusion, you'll have to grant me a spot of help. I'm in charge of keeping the patrons of the saloon entertained. Normally, this does not present an issue, but I learned that an old flame of mine shall attend my next performance. My resolve is uncharacteristically flagging. I find myself fixating on the most minute of issues. I need something to bolster my confidence. She knows my real name. Prospero's just a stage title, as it happens. There's a certain kind of intimacy that I fear shall be difficult to ignore. Liquid courage has never failed me, but I have a discerning palate. The automech chef in the bazaar sells my preferred brand of alcohol, though it can be headstrong. You see, I can't just drink any old swill from the bar. My refined palate can only stomach one drink. Iceberg-aged whiskey. Something of a collector's item, I'm told. My brand. Excellent. Thank you. Very well. You wish to know about the crash, yes? Are you prepared for a sordid tale of drama and woe? You, my friend, remind me of my critics. Very well. Everyone knows that the free market's captain was a hopeless romantic, especially disposed to giving too much of her heart to those inclined to break it. The final betrayal came from a dashing rogue smuggler who vanished with most of her bits. The good captain had about all she could endure. Indeed she did. The crew attempted to wrest the controls from her to save them from their fate, but alas, too late! That's all I know. I thank you for your help once again, and now I must get ready for my set.
Run along now. I've spent more than enough time entertaining wayward sprats.
Do me a kindness and mosey on.
Sorry, loitering ain't my crime of choice.
Greetings again. You may have defeated me last time, but I shall rise from the ashes someday. In the meantime, you're welcome to browse my collection. In the wake of my defeat, I've taken a brief break. I'm contemplating what I might collect next. I've heard sprats are rarely born with mutations like extra toes and acid vision. Perhaps I'll start an exotic sprat farm. Then I could pit my sprats against opposing farm sprats. Battle sprats. Imagine the merchandising opportunities. Eat your heart out, Auntie Cleo.
Halt there, fugitive. I'll take that bounty. No, no. Traditionally, you lot offered to pay less before resorting to threats of violence. Let's negotiate. Fine. Never mind the bounty. Just leave me be.
Protect your loved ones, protect yourself. Buys.
Look, everyone else here? Nothing you buy from them will matter if you get killed. So armor up. Tell me what you need. Booming now. Used to be a few other armor shops on the station. As it happened, their owners mysteriously vanished. I picked up their inventories real cheap, since they were just taking up station storage. It sure was a convenient windfall for yours truly. Real convenient. Exactly. I wish some other sorts around here who like to cast aspersions were as understanding as you. Can do.
Get caught unawares all you like. My armor.
Safe. Be on your best behavior there, sport.
If you've a tooth pain, you know who to visit.
My gear has the fewest holes out of any clothes-on station, or your money. Auntie's Choice thanks you for... never mind that. Sorry. Force of habit. If you're in need of sprucing up the old wardrobe, I can provide. Used to be part of Auntie's Choice. Nothing special, just a pilot for light cargo vessels. Had a lot of time to think with just the void for company. Eventually decided I was sick of being overworked and underpaid, and made off with my cargo. Turned out to be generic clothes, work gear, and such. More of a market for it out here than I would have guessed. I've bolstered my wares since. You should give them a look. Garments here. Come ganderize.
Meals currently sold. Welcome to our stall. We hope this is the first meal you ever have in your life. What may this unit rehydrate for you? Negative. This unit and stall are registered to Gerald T. Wenrich. Mr. Wenrich last visited 222 days ago. When last seen, Mr. Wenrich mentioned he was, quote, going to teach those, redacted, sub rosa, redacted, a lesson. Nobody extorts Gerald T. Wenrich. Error. Road sales grandstanding not found.
Nothing tastes right here. It's all so sweet.
If you're here about a toothache, you've come to the right place. If you're here bleeding from a dozen bullet wounds, I suppose I can help with that too. If you've wounds that need stitching or teeth that need scrutiny, I'm your doctor. Yes? Is this a problem? I'm the only doctor on Free Market Station. I think that excuses whatever quirks I may or may not have. My prior faction demanded I strictly adhere to my vocation and forego the world of dentistry, under penalty of death after a certain number of infractions. Suffice it to say, I'm pleased Free Market Station allows me to be myself. Medicaments and more, all sufficiently regulated, or thereabouts. Stimulants, medicaments, drugs. Get your drugs
Your
here.
eyes open to the Protectorate's wrongdoings as well?
Mental refreshment is...
My contraptions don't explode no more. Listen, I know I shouldn't warn you about this, but anything I sell you runs the risk of exploding. I trust you'll appreciate my forthrightness and be all the more willing to buy from me. I see. It appears I need to retrofit my strategy, as well as most of my inventions. I've been having some problems with my machines since I arrived on this planetoid, but that's enough about myself. No. Ships decidedly ain't in my purview. You sure I can't interest you in some bric-a-brac instead of this conversation? I don't think that'd be smart. I need to keep my mind free of trauma if I want to improve my workflow. Well, none taken. I never intended to be. But when life breaks your jaw and shoots out your knees, may as well learn to get good at crawling, right? Oh, I prefer to focus on the present and the future, and not things that may or may not keep me awake in the dark and lonesome hours of the night. You'd need to purchase much more from my stock for me to consider such a course of action. I'd be happy to show you. Buy from me, please?
Yeah.
Hello once more. I guarantee you some of my inventions will be working. Be happy to... Hello once more. I guarantee you some... Oh, I prefer to focus on the present and the future, and not things that may or may not keep me awake in the dark and lonesome hours of the night. Great. Let's get back to not this subject. Hello once more. I guarantee... Oh, I prefer to focus on the present and the future, and not things that... You can tell? Damnation. Sounds like you know what it's like working with technology. Maybe I can confide in you. Before it crashed, I served on the free market as a secondary engineer, first grade. Had a colleague who was very talented, but not very good at hiding it. The supervisor saw her as a threat and demoted her to the engine room. She wasn't the type to take a blow without dodging. In Auntie's choice, there's politics among waste technicians. My colleague sabotaged the engines when her partner was on his mandated 2-minute break. When the free market attempted to breach orbit, well, just about everyone died. I made it to an escape pod on the port side. The ship landed on its starboard. I got lucky. Yeah, me too. Anyway, can we get back to subjects that aren't this? I got goods to sell. Anybody even listening to this? Let me... Sell you stuff?
If it inflicts grievous bodily harm on other people... I think I misplaced a hand grenade. We'll know in a couple seconds if it's armed or not. Browse all you like. Everything I've got is fine-tuned to perfection. I'm glad you asked. Weapon is an all-encompassing term. A rock can be a weapon, or a stick, or a particularly agitated sprat if you have thick enough gloves. But what I sell here, I wouldn't dare lump them in with mere weapons. These are finely tuned instruments of personnel elimination. You have my guarantee. My equipment for annihilating one's foes will never fail on you. Full disclosure, my guarantee is not guaranteed. That's privileged information, friend. If you want it, you're going to have to kill me. Just jesting. Although if you did want to kill me, I've got many finely priced perforators tuned to do just that. Perhaps you'd be inclined to take a look at my wares? Feel free to go on a murderous rampage with what you buy. It's good publicity. If it inflicts grievous bodily harm on other people, I've got it!
Greetings. How has the data collection fared? That's hardly surprising, considering the station's predilection for gossip. So long as you provide us the information, we can parse through it and decide fact from fiction. Are you prepared to present what you have learned? Finally, a breakthrough. Let's hear it. How did the ACS free market meet its end? So the backstabbing nature of Auntie's choice is hampering even the most basic of command chains. Good to know. Aside from the crash, what occurred in the ship's final moments? An incompetent captain and an incompetent crew. Tisk tisk. Last question. Were there any contributing factors to the crash? Anything that might recontextualize what actually happened? I'm pretty sure it wasn't. If it was, would I be here collecting information? This report is going to bear some glaring absences, which is unfortunate. Still, I wouldn't have been able to get this far without your help. Here's something for your time. It would have been more if I'd been able to complete this, but there's nothing for that now. Auntie's choice seems to be inundated with its own problems, technical and personnel alike. We should have ample opportunity to use this for propaganda purposes. You should have said so. Here's something extra from my stipend. Now I need to get this report to my superiors. Thanks again.
anybody loiter about a protocol without someone casting assuming glances their way? I know a presumptive look when I see it. Oh, well, forget I said anything then. I don't know nothing about nothing. All right already. 6 or 7 months ago, some Auntie's Choice clock puncher made a shipping error. Sent a few crates of failed grafting materials here to Cloister. You know that grafting program they used to have? Where they'd give some hapless hullhead a big monster arm, torn off one of a bunch of different deadly creatures? These crates arrived full of rejected Crabbo-graft parts. Sat untouched for months till I found them. And I thought, little rebranding, the right angle? Bet I could sell these. I met this Protectorate officer. Smug as all get out, naive as the day is long. Said she had logistical supply concerns and needed means to feed the personnel guarding the archive. As the plan would have it, I told her I got a shipment of, imitation Crabbo meat. You repackage and relabel it, it'll pass for Protectorate rations just fine. She agreed. Bought a few crates on the spot, promised to send word when she needed more. I just had to grind up everything first. Remove a few telltale chunks. I was sort of bragging to a colleague about the scam. How I tricked a gullible Protectorate officer into purchasing and relabeling rejected grafting materials as Crabbo rations. Don't mention it to anyone, especially not those damn snoops at Winter's Grasp.
Investigating enemy in vicinity.
Vital critical.
Do carry on. Do carry on. I think I'm in danger here.
Mobilizing.
Commander, you're bleeding!
Any news from the field? Any further progress? Learn anything useful? Shame. I'd hoped she was taking them for all they had. I'll send out a squad to collect her straight away. Here's a little something for your trouble.
Thank you.
UFO be at the bridge has been totally isolated from reinforcements. So quickly, we couldn't even begin to respond. Maybe a strategic plan would have been a better use for it than making more money. One by now.
That's just crazy talk.
Preparing to attack.
Captain ready. Mitigating the threat. Captain down. Gas still recharging. Lubrification in progress. Taking the fight out of them.
We had a device for dosing rifts, like the one we found on Praetor. Isn't Azza theoretically in charge of Glorious Dawn now? Those Rift cultists in Newton might stand down if she's present.
Loath as I am to mention this, it may be wise to turn back. Return when Azza's with us. Her repute could give us an advantage, should we wish to speak to cultists. Isn't Azza theoretically in charge of Glorious Dawn now? Those Rift cultists in Newton might stand down if she's present.
You there! You need to leave. This is a holy site. Non-believers are not welcome.
leave. This is a holy site, traitor. Did you not hear me? You must leave unless you wish to be ushered into perfection before the rest of this architect-forsaken colony. But please, give me an excuse to kill the betrayer of our exalted leader.
Betrayer? How dare you? I'm no betrayer. It is all of us who were betrayed. Summon your hierarch now if you value your wretched life.
I don't... that is... I can't... Hierarch Wolcott! You're needed over here! So, the power to manipulate rifts. That seems, let me just say I apologize if I've offended you in any way.
Wolcott? Wolcott's your hierarch? Shit.
Well, look here. I never expected to see you again, Azahelia. Here to spread more deceptions, like your broadcast.
Of course. It's so simple even you can understand, Wolcott. She was setting us all up to be political pawns. Our deaths were to be proof of the Consul's superiority as a leader. But the only thing your imminent and excruciating death will serve as is proof of your incompetence.
Do the deceptions never end with you and your ilk? I'm no fool. What you claim is an impossibility. How would such a thing even work? Yes, of course it does. Makes perfect sense. If it does, in fact, do such. Can never be too certain about things of such import. A lot of crazed theoreticians about. Come, prove to me this device can do what you say, then I will decide. But let me assure you, if you do anything but follow me to the rift, violence will ensue. Do not wander too far. My threat of violence is not to be taken lightly. I must admit to a certain modicum of suspicion towards your claims, but consider my interest piqued.
Why is the hierarch leading outsiders to the rift?
The season is making a run. Glorious dawn!
You there. You need to leave. Did you not? But please. I don't... so...
Well, look here. I never expected to see...
But the only thing you're...
Do the deceptions never end? Come. Do not wander too far. My threat of violence is not to be taken lightly. The acolytes will open fire if you don't stay near me. I must admit to a certain modicum of suspicion towards your claims, but consider my interest piqued.
bring outsiders to the rift.
Something of great import is afoot. No one gets escorted to the rift. Is it time for sacrifices? When's our turn?
Acolyte Varnham said he heard them talking about a device that can change the nature of the rift.
That's preposterous. There'll be some tomfoolery ahead.
Asa the betrayer.
If you can indeed control the rift, as you say, that changes things. It could force us to rethink our understanding of the rifts, but we are nothing if not truth seekers. We are here. Prove to me that your device can manipulate the rift as you claim. Gods! This should not be possible. That device borders on the heretical. You will hand it over now, and then we shall decide what to do with you.
And if you'd actually listened instead of being your normal fool self, you'd understand why. The leader betrayed us to the Sentinels to save herself. And if they get to you, I'm sure you'd sell me out too. Say the word and I'll just kill you now. Or get out and tell your lackeys to do the same.
I did listen. I just refused to believe. I was always jealous of your closeness to the leader. But you have a device with the power to manipulate the rifts. A power she never had, or withheld from us. I am loath to admit it, but I must accept it. The dawn can be no more. Acolytes of the glorious dawn, prepare. We leave this place within the hour, and then we must separate and save ourselves.
Information from the esteemed leader themselves. We want to be here until our ascension. Information from the esteemed leader themselves. That doesn't make sense. We were supposed to be here. Those outsiders must have secret information from the esteemed leader themselves. Nothing makes sense. We were supposed to be here until our ascension.
Of our leaders.
As us not a betrayer, you esteemed leader, and we're leaving?
I will happily move on if the hierarch and esteemed leaders say we must, but it just don't make sense. I thought Walcott said we were stationed here until it was our turn to join with the Rift. Why are we leaving? I thought Walcott said we were...
I can't believe I spent all that time
found what I was looking for. No need to continue messing with the Dawn's communication devices.
I can't believe I spent all that time cleaning up corpses and we're just leaving. I'm confused and dismayed, but it's best not to ask questions. The hierarchy knows what's best.
Those outsiders must have secret information from the esteemed Aza's not a betrayer. She's the new esteemed leader. And we're leaving?
ain't gotta stick with the Dawn, Azza. You know that, right?
You have been misinformed. I am not sticking with the cult, nor is anyone who wishes to remain breathing.
That may be, but what I was trying to say is that I still think you got it in you to make a real difference. To do some good.
I am making a difference. I am protecting myself by eradicating the cult. You're lying to yourself if you believe I or anyone can do more. Not to mention the lies you're telling yourself. Despite your best efforts, you will always be an outsider in everything.
If you say so.